Hi! This time I wanted to share my thoughts on the recent part of the Ravenhawk campaign. As always, the session went great thanks to the awesome roleplay that happened because everyone was in character. I want to start talking about the first fight. Of course, this is going to contain spoilers. The fight against the hags. It's a perfect example not only of teamwork, the player characters working together in order to defeat these terrifying foes, but it's also a good way to take into consideration that every single Dungeons and Dragons monster can have his or her own or its own surprises. If you are using orcs, trolls, gnolls, hobgoblins, do not be afraid about giving them something unique. I added a few particular things to these hags, to these night hags, that normally they do not have, they do not benefit from those things, and that could surprise the players. Even the veterans. This is mostly aimed for those that have been playing tabletop role-playing games for a long time, specifically Dungeons and Dragons. So do not be afraid about making the monster stronger, weaker, with powers that are very different from the standard, from the norm. Imagine having a fight with a group of orcs and suddenly one of those orcs starts to use this petrifying gaze like a Medusa. That's pretty out of the ordinary and interesting. What is the story behind that orc? Why does that orc possess that sort of ability or power? I also think that that fight is a good example on how the monsters are not always aware about everything that is going on. As you know, if you watch that actual play, the fight split into two segments, those that were fighting outside of the windmill because the hags from the second floor jumped outside from the windows to attack them in a pincer maneuver. Luckily, Ismark, Irina, Boris, and Igor went outside along with... Well, Mu took advantage because she fell prey to this gaze effect from the hag. So she was already outside. She decided to join the fight outside. Marcus and Jace continued their fight against the hag inside, and the thing that the hag summoned, it was a sort of like a demon. I don't remember the exact name. Ah, yes, a dredge. So everyone was doing their part. But there was this moment where the hags started to get killed. So it's quite logical to assume that the other hags are not always aware when the other hags are dying. And the many variations of hags usually have shared powers. So sometimes they want to employ a spell, but they didn't remember or they didn't notice that one of the other hags or the two other hags, it depends on how you are handling the coven formation or yes, the coven spell effects. They are empowered by their presence. So it is quite logical to think that one of those enemies, be it in any other situation, any sort of situation, they are not always aware of everything that is going on in the battlefield. And I have seen many dungeon masters, game masters commit this error. You are supposed to be role-playing those monsters. Those monsters do not have this super awareness or omni-awareness of everything that is going on in the battlefield. They will make mistakes because they are not aware that other members of their own force have died. That's why there was this moment that a hag was going to use a spell and it didn't work because the other two hags were dead. So you have to roleplay those situations. Tyler mentioned that he was curious to see how I would handle the hit points or health bloat typical of D20 systems. You see that the fight, even though it took some time, it proceeded quite fast, because as long as there is roleplay, there will be plenty of opportunities for automatic hits, bonus damage. blunders, fumbles, and errors that could deplete the hit points of the creature. So, as always, I am quite confident when it comes to running sessions no matter the levels, because some people could be thinking, oh no, Dungeons and Dragons at 15th level, characters of 15th level, all of the battles are going to be such a drag. Not at all. As long as you roleplay the situation, not only are the combat rounds going to proceed quite smoothly, you're not going to have, I will, can I use this spell? No, wait. I'm going to use this feat. No. I'm going to use this ability. No. Okay, let's discuss tactics out of character. As long as you don't have those anti-roleplay situations, combat will flow smoothly. And no matter how many hit points the enemy has, the characters are also going to use their powerful spells, their feats, but most importantly, their ideas on how they can use their powers. So, I hope that battle was a taste of things to come, because, well, that is my intention, and I hope all of the players will also manage to accomplish that based on their lives, on their schedules. I hope we'll be able to play the entire campaign up to the return to the Tomb of Horrors. It's going to be pretty amazing. Things are going to get better and better. This is just a taste of things to come. The other thing that I liked is, before we go towards that, well, it is somewhat related. Later on in the adventure, in the session, they met up with Mordenkainen. And Mordenkainen, you see, he's very powerful. Not as powerful as he will be in the future, because, you know, they faced off against a younger Mordenkainen, a bit less powerful when compared to other periods of the Greyhawk setting, but he's still a powerhouse. And you can see that a single one of his spells, even though we have to take into consideration that Mu and Jace were at the front trying to convince Mordenkainen, they were quite open to the attack. They took the full blow, they failed their saving throws, and they went down. So that was another thing that Tyler mentioned, how I would handle the situation in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, where the player characters are very difficult to kill. I actually do not consider that to be the case, because there are still many effects, raw damage that can down them. Even though you have to make your death saving throws and whatnot, as the party members start to go down, the other members are going to try to heal them, protect them, get them up, perhaps even raise them, but that will still not be enough. That's a missing action, or even missing actions. So you enter this downward spiral. It is still very easy to have a total party kill in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, because as the party members start to go down, the options become less and less, and you start to lose the fight. And of course, roleplay always applies. If there is a character that is just a bit wounded, and a giant steps on that character, a colossus or whatever, that character is going to die. No death saving throws, no whatsoever. If something like that happens, if a piece of a mountain falls on top of a character, anything could happen that would kill you in a realistic way, even within the fictional context. As a dungeon master, you should give priority to the fiction, to the roleplay. So if that happens, your character is dead. No other way around it. When it comes to death saving throws, they are just there to support, or rather promote or express the idea that the heroes are greater than other people in the setting. So you have a chance of surviving the many dangers, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to be allowed. Death saving throws happen when it makes sense. In the case of Mu and Jace, they got pretty much knocked out because of the spell. They were almost about to die, but they still managed to overcome that pain. They were not completely destroyed. So yes, I hope those are clear examples, and just this other section of this video. I really enjoyed role-playing as Mordenkainen, because when you role-play those powerful non-player characters, they are vehicles to show you a bit more about the setting, or in this case, the settings. And I also think that RPG Grandma, Eli, and Big Bad RPG did great when it comes to taking advantage of what Mordenkainen had to offer. They took shelter instead of his mansion, Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion. They took the time to obtain information about the valley of Barovia, Strad. RPG Grandma decided to, well, it was Big Bad RPG's idea of using the silver to modify his spear. But RPG Grandma took advantage of Mordenkainen's installation and his magical spells to assist in the process. More thematic, right? I can also see Mordenkainen helping for example, the girl that was about to drown, using his magic to dry up her clothes so that she wouldn't get sick. So again, Mordenkainen, it was a great pleasure to roleplay as him. I have roleplayed as Elminster, but when it comes to the more powerful characters in the settings, Elminster, Mordenkainen, they are great vehicles to tell the players about the setting, about the greater threats, about what is going on. They also used Mordenkainen to identify those bottles that they had found inside of the windmill. A very wise choice. So overall, a great session. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. That is everyone who was watching. And we are going to play it, to continue it, as always, next Thursday. Although, because of RPG Grandma's job, we still need to confirm at about what time we are going to play. Maybe a bit later or a bit earlier, maybe at the same time, who knows. She's going to keep us updated. And for those of you that do not know, I am going to start another campaign in a few weeks, about a couple of weeks, featuring the Infinity's Edge system. It's going to be like a Sword Art Online or dot hack situation. The typical MMORPG environment, and you cannot log out. It's going to be kind of like that. Very different. It's going to have its own intrigues, its own mysteries, and it is quite the standard process in that setting that you go into these chambers that basically keep your body healthy while you can spend days in that MMORPG environment. We already have a full group, potentially. That is, we have Tyler, of course, we have Rick, we have Alberto and Kevin, but they will confirm if they will be able to play in about within a couple of weeks, because they have their own schedules, their own games. Rick is going to start his Castles and Crusades campaign. So we shall see. But if anyone else wishes to form part of this 4-man group, that would be a 5-man group if you were to join. Any role players out there, please consider it, definitely. As always, thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.